Today, we see the chaos is continuing, but this time the market has been pushed up. And we're going to see this as we move forward. The market's going to be up, it's going to be down. We're going to see a lot of chaos as we move forward. And what's very interesting about all this, well, first of all, gold was suppressed a little bit. It was brought down. But what we're seeing right now, and this is coming from the Conference Board, Consumer Confidence. And again, they get grants from the government, and they basically do whatever the government wants. And right now, we can see the consumer confidence coming from the Conference Board. Well, it has surged to 125.6. Now, we haven't seen anything like this since 2000. And when you really look at the consumer confidence, it's continually moving up as retail stores are closing, people are being laid off, and real earnings growth is declining. But people are very confident. Confident in what? Well, they see the stock market moving up. Maybe they're confident in that. But real earnings growth, that's declining. Retail stores are closing. People are being laid off in retail. And when we look at the UMich confidence, well, we see this divided between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats, well, they're expecting a deep recession. Republicans, well, they're expecting a new era of robust economic growth. But the last time Americans felt this good about stocks, about the economy, well, the dot-com bubble burst 2 months later. And think about this. Back in 2008, when the stock market was hitting like 14,000 points and people were feeling good, what happened later on? Remember that month of August? I believe it was August, when we had Obama and McCain. And McCain was out there trying to tell everyone that the economy was fine. Yes, Obama said he doesn't believe the economy is doing. That's pretty much what he said at that point. And then all of a sudden, as we approached September, and then we hit October, the market came down. McCain, boom. He had no clue. He was not in touch with what the economy was doing. They knew, Obama somehow knew that the economy wasn't doing well, and things were going to fall apart. Very interesting. That pretty much got him into the White House. I mean, there were other factors and like that. But we had the stock market at 14,000 points. The Fed told us everything, and then everything started to fall apart very rapidly. Today, we see the same thing happening. I mean, Case-Shiller came out telling us that U.S. home prices, well, they have accelerated at its fastest pace in 3 years. And of course, they look at the 20 cities and they say, yes, look at this. We're able to get these 20 cities and we're able to push the home prices up by 5.7%. Now, what's very interesting about all of this, again, is that mortgage rates have been moving up a little bit. Mortgage applications have been down, but prices are continually moving up. Las Vegas, Seattle, San Diego, they led the monthly gains, while Cleveland, Minneapolis, and Detroit, they saw a slowdown. San Francisco saw the biggest drop in a year. Now remember, Case-Shiller is reporting on this a couple months back. Since that time, mortgage applications have declined, rates have popped up a little bit, and when you look outside of the 20 cities, we are seeing that prices are coming down. When I look around my area, I can see there are homes that have been for sale for a very long time. And guess what? This past Sunday, I was driving around and I saw open houses all over the place, and nobody was showing up. And when I look across the country, I can see pretty much the same exact thing. Now, Americans, they have paid a record $540 billion in property taxes to state and local governments in the fiscal year of 2016. This is according to the U.S. Census Bureau. This was up by $16 billion, or about 3.2%, from $523 billion in property taxes back in 2015. So what we're seeing right now is that we've seen the property taxes hit this height. It hit a new level here. And we saw it back in 2009 when they hit $527 billion. So right now, property taxes are about $13 billion higher than they were at the Great Recession period of time. And we can see that everything is reaching that height level once again. And when we look around, we can see there are major problems in the economy. Look at New York City retail vacancies, for instance. And if you walk around Soho, and you used to walk around Soho and you see, dozen of upstarts, trendy fashion retailers, and you'd see all these different stores. But today, what do you see? Well, you see a lot of vacancies. You see a retail drought. And commercial landlords, well, they've seen retail occupancy levels plummet over the last 12 months. And they're doing everything possible to avoid big price cuts. Instead, like residential landlords, commercial real estate owners, well, they're providing massive rent concessions through things like interior redesigns, moving expenses to keep storefronts from going empty. We're seeing tenant improvement and concession packages that retail landlords never, ever contemplated before. And Fifth Avenue stores, well, that is on the rise, and they are going empty right now. The space availability right now is increasing in New York. And again, as more and more of these retail shops close down across the country, Payless, Sears, Radio Shack, we're going to have a lot of space that it will be opening up. And we already have a glut of retail space. And it's just getting worse. We see more signs of a weakening economy. The Census Bureau Advanced Economic Reports show that wholesale and retail inventories each rose by 0.4%. This inventory build will likely add a couple of ticks to GDP estimates, but sales really haven't matched it. The trade deficit shrank in February, but not because of export strength, but because of both exports and imports were negative for the month, and imports fell less. And we see right now the decline in imports, well, it adds to the weakening consumer spending outlook, especially with the auto sector already rolling over. So things are rapidly deteriorating. Things are not getting better. Things aren't improving. Actually, what we're seeing is things are getting worse. Now, Charles Hugh Smith, he wrote an article, The Overlapping Crises Are Coming, regardless of who's in power right now. And Timothy Geithner, well, he conceded that in his recent Foreign Affairs article on how to deal with the next global financial crisis, that the central banks and states have expanded all their ammunition, lowering interest rates, creating money out of thin air to bolster systematic liquidity, buying bonds and other assets to prop up shaky markets, and borrowing immense sums to prop up government spending. And there is little left for the next crisis. And I don't like doing this, but I have to agree with Tim Geithner on this, that it looks like the central banks, they have nothing left to shoot off. They have no more grenades. They have no more bullets. And we can see that the Fed right now, they are raising the rates, which is a signal to let you know that they're preparing to bring this entire system down. We see there's top Republicans out there saying that a government shutdown is a real possibility. And Wall Street might not be prepared for this. And we know that is coming up because once we hit the 20 trillion, and it looks like it's going to hit around maybe April 28th, around that time period. And we can see that there's going to be a battle. Look what happened with the healthcare battle. There's going to be a battle with the debt ceiling. And we'll have to see how this all plays out, because right now the Democrats, they feel empowered right now where they're saying, look, we still have Obamacare. The debt ceiling is coming up next. Let's not make it easy for Trump. And we can see that the deep state, their entire mission is to make sure that this system collapses. By shutting down the government, well, they just have another method of really twisting all of this and putting a lot of pressure on the economy to bring it down. Now, we know when Ron Paul was in office, he kept on pushing the idea that we need to audit the and he continually pushed this. And his son, Rand Paul, well, he is also pushing this. Now, we know there was a bill floating around to look into the secret dealings of the Fed. And we can see right now that the U.S. House Committee, well, they approved a bill to go in and audit the Fed. Now, does this mean they can go in and audit the Fed right now? No. But we do know that the entire House, it's made up mostly of Republicans. They control it, and they might move this bill forward because we understand that the next phase is for the entire floor to vote on it. Now, there are certain individuals in government that do not want this to happen. And these individuals are the pawns of the deep state of the central bank. They don't want an audit of the Fed. They don't want anyone looking into the secret inner workings of what they're actually doing. Remember, the Fed is a separate corporation. It's not part of the government. They have their own mandate, their own secret mandate, which really nobody knows about, of what their whole entire purpose is about. It's not about the people. It's not balancing the budget. It's not keeping the currency out there and circulated. It has nothing to do with that. Because if they truly were working for the people, why attach interest? There'd be no reason to do it. So at this point, we can see the founding fathers, well, they didn't want a private central bank. Actually, Andrew Jackson, his entire campaign was to get rid of the central bank, and he did. And of course, they tried to assassinate him. This is what the central banks do when they don't get their way. They try to kill that individual, but it was too late because he got rid of them. Their assassination attempt failed. And we can see right now that Trump does have that portrait hanging in his office. And we can see right now there are many individuals, these pawns of the central bank. And think about it. Why are they defending the central bank? What benefit does it give them? Are they receiving funds in a certain way? Are they being, compensated for doing the work of the central bank and protecting them in Congress? Well, of course. Because what other benefit is there? There is no other benefit to the central bank. And we can see around the world, if their mandate was to keep everything at status quo and make sure that all the countries are doing well, why are all these countries in so much debt? Why do we have $20 trillion worth of debt? Why do we have $200 trillion of unfunded liability? Why do they keep giving debt to countries and making the people pay for it? Think about all of that. Now, are they going to be able to audit the Fed? Will it get that far? No. The central bank, the deep state, they're pretty powerful. And we know for a very long time, they do not want to be audited. They believe that it's none of the people's business. Really. We, the people, it's none of our business how the currency of this country is working and what the Fed is actually doing. Now, the books they give to Congress saying this is our audit, those aren't the books we want to look at. We want to look at the other books that they have, the other accounting that they have. We've seen this before in companies, actually, where they give one set of books and say, look, everything's on the up and up. And in the background, they keep the other set what they're really doing. And we can see right now there are individuals that are going to try to stop this. They don't want the Fed audited, because if the Fed was audited, this would be one of the biggest truth bombs to hit the public. And it would be a complete disaster for the central banking system. Not just the Fed, but the central banking system. It would the whole entire central bank system would implode on itself, because the entire world would see exactly what they're doing and what their mandate is and how they've been lying to governments, to the people. It would be a disaster. This is why it's been how many years now since 1913 that they've never let a full audit of what they're doing, because they know if they're found out, they're done for, just like during Andrew Jackson's time. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared.